Hey, this is OminousGiggle with devlog number 6. When we last left off our not-so-intrepid hero, no, schmuck, that's more suited, our not-so-intrepid schmuck, we had gotten ourselves registered for Steam Next Fest, made some temp zombie sprites with different states, and got melee implemented. Now, one of the things I needed to get set up for Next Fest is actually getting my game store page up and made public. It's something that really should have been done earlier, since I should be trying to get as many wish lists as possible prior to Next Fest and prior to launch, as all of this helps make the initial launch that much more likely to be at least a moderate success. Now, granted, if someone buys my game, I think that's a success, so we'll see. As of this very moment, the page is still in review, but a preliminary version will be up once that review passes. That's what this week has been spent on. I took a break from bludgeoning my head against code and started working on some artwork. I wanted to get screenshots for the game that were not just my painfully green hallways and rooms with random colored squares. This meant I finally needed to nail down an art direction. Initially, I was planning on doing the game strictly top down, my main reasoning being it needs less sprites since I can just rotate them. But then I found that rotating my sprites created some really awful looking moments as the sprite got absolutely butchered by the rotation. I did a few things that mostly alleviated it, namely the tripling of the size of all the sprites, so that when I rotated them, GameMaker had 3x3 pixels to work with instead of just 1x1. This mostly resolved the issue, but there was still some weird cases where if I was walking at like a 30-degree angle, that there was this weird ripple effect going across the sprite, and I couldn't figure out how to get rid of that. Then I started looking at how to make the environment pieces in a way that the players could still tell what they are easily. I remember games like the old Link's Awakening or Link to the Past where you could see all sides of an object. So I dug up pictures and I came to realize that while some of the things you could, like you could always see all walls, there was a lot of other objects that were just constantly flip flop between you see these from top down, while others you're seeing them more of a front facing. It just didn't quite match with how I was thinking about my game. So I did a few mock-ups of what it would look like if I had like the top, the front, and the back visible, and just always left the side straight. And it looked janky. I'm sure I could have made it work given enough time, but the additional mental effort for every sprite would have just made it that much more exhausting to do them. The more exhausting it is, the less inclined I am to do it. I took a look at what it'd be like if I swapped everything over to being more front-facing, similar to the character sprites from Link to the Past or Link's Awakening, as well as similar games like Zombie Estate, which was one of my inspirations to make this game in the first place, and other more recent titles like Cult of the Lamb and Enter the Gungeon, and it's a very solid approach. I asked around a few different places to get people's feedback about which style they liked more, and in the end I've opted to move to a more front-facing setup. This allowed me to use the skills I'd already gained from working on Souls Unrest, which has a similar front-facing top-down style. I also was able to just grab and pillage a bunch of my sprites from there and modify them to fit the scale difference for Zombie Knight instead. But that's what we're going to call it for now, so I can get back to making more blocky pictures. You can follow the game's progress on Twitter at OminousGiggle or on Patreon, also OminousGiggle. I'll be trying to get myself back on Twitch more, also OminousGiggle. Uh, yeah, that's basically where I am. You can like, follow, subscribe, all that malarkey, and we will see you next week. Bye!